The biggest fear for me was, are the rosters being done properly? Are we paying people the right amounts? Probably open to a little bit of fraud. And so that was probably my fear, but I always had aspirations to scale to multiple centers. We're now at 3, we're about to do number 4. And of course, the problem just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The center management system that we use does have a very rudimentary rostering system built into it, but it is that. And didn't integrate into Xero or anything like that in order to produce their pays. So henceforth, we started looking out into the market. RosterElf quickly became top of the pack. A lot of the childcare staff that we work with aren't the most computer literate people. I guess the way you can probably judge how easy it is to use is how much support I've been asked for. When we've onboarded new centres and new centre directors, we haven't had a huge amount of training or help that they've needed. We've given them a bit of a demo. If they've needed it, they've obviously contacted the RosterElf support and they've jumped on and given them a bit of a whiz-bang run through. And that's been incredible. The support that we've had from RosterElf is that they're incredibly willing and patient. The key thing I look at is the user interface and the user experience, and are things in a logical manner. That I think has been very well thought out, and there's obviously been some user testing or user feedback that's gone into that user design because it is very intuitive. The integration with Xero and actually doing the fundamental connection took a matter of minutes. Processing pays and then having them sort of ready to be approved in payroll when we do those, which is on a fortnightly basis, also seems to be pretty bang on and quick as well. The only time I guess that it falls outside of that is just where there's anomalies, and that's usually down to human error where they haven't put in, there's half an hour there that hasn't been accounted for. But that's user error or the center manager's error. The software itself often is more accurate than perhaps my staff have been. So, if anybody's sort of contemplating whether they want to kind of automate that process or not, the fact is that it's going to reduce that workload by 90-95%. As a company that provides support myself, having local support, a local telephone number is important for my clients. And I feel that some of those bigger tech companies have probably gone too far with offshoring stuff to the Philippines and India. And I get it that organizations might want to have them because they're a bit cheaper per hour and stuff like that. But it can be incredibly frustrating as a customer. You just want somebody that kind of gets you, understands you, is going to help you work through the problem and get it solved. So for the fact that RosterElf has gone, I personally as a customer more than happy to pay for a bit of a premium to have local support myself. I'd prefer that every day of the week. But at the end of the day, you just want your problem to be solved. So, and every time that we've leaned on your support, it's been dealt with quickly. Payroll used to be bit of a nightmare, to be honest, and I think it was something that nobody looked forward to. It used to be a 2-3 day ordeal, pretty much a day per center. Now that the system is embedded and in process, and staff know that if their timesheets aren't in on RosterElf and they haven't done it properly, that's that. We've stopped people trying to circumvent the system, which we had a bit at the start, and something to perhaps look out for. It's cut that processing time down by 90-95%. So what was 3 days, call it 6-7 hours a day for my CFO to work out, and she's on $100 an hour. You can kind of do the maths there. Do your own due diligence. There's platforms out there that I'm sure RosterElf competes with, but you've really got to make up that way up between local support. How fast is that moving? How tailored it is to the Australian market. Obviously, being an Australian product, it seems a lot more tailored to Australian businesses for sure. More recently, become a lot more committed. We've said yes, we're going to stick with RosterElf for the next 36 months. So I agreed to go on a plan as such. But yeah, I'd be the first person to say it's been a great product, great experience. Certainly one that we're very pleased we made. There's other softwares that we've regretted purchasing and wanted to put in the bin afterwards. So yeah, if you're considering it, certainly put it at the top of your list.